Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Our Lowe's just got a Costa Farms restock, so let's go ahead and see what they got. Starting off, they have a huge selection of these Majesty palms. They had some for $30, these larger size, and then the ones next to them were $23. Let's go ahead and look at this end here with all the clearance plants. It looks like they have some aloe and succulents up there in the corner. Down here, they have a few of those self-watering planters with some philodendron. There is the white knight philodendron. And next to that, we have a white wizard. These are a lot of the plants that we saw in the last video. So there's that ring of fire. It looks like they clearanced quite a few of these. There is that silver streak pothos. A lot of them don't look like anything's wrong with them, so super good deal if you are looking for some philodendrons. They have a lot to choose from. Up here are those huge glass terrariums we saw in the last video. They've already clearanced them. I pretty much knew that wasn't a good idea. I just thought that the plants were already dying inside of them and not compatible, so not surprised those got clearance, but let's go ahead and look over here on this end. Starting off, they have this Xantha Soma. These are actually really cool. I don't have one of these in my collection. I've been thinking about getting one of them. I just really love the way they look. Down here at the bottom are all those burl marks flames that we saw in the last video. So they still have a bunch of these left. I think it's because they're hidden down here in this corner. So a lot of people are probably passing those up. I see those selling out really soon. Here is a few more philodendron and that Alocasia regina. A lot of these are the same plants they had last week. Here is that Chameleon ZZ. Really love these. The lime green color on them is really cool. They had quite a few of those left. Next to that, it looks like we have some golden pothos. This one is really cute. There is a little Ficus lyrata, also known as a fiddle leaf fig. They had this bird's nest fern next to that. They had quite a few of those. I think those are really cute. Here is a painted lady philodendron. They had a lot of those last time as well. They still had a few of these Monstera standalonias. These have a little bit more of the white variegation on them. This is one of my favorites that Costa Farms has out at the moment. That is the Scindapsus Platinum. I just really love the color of those. I love Scindapsus. Down here on this bottom shelf, they had quite a few of these Spathionemas, so a lot of those to choose from. At the top, they just had some golden pothos, nothing new over here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other side. On this end here is a huge shipment of white knight philodendrons. I thought this one was really pretty. I love that variegation on that leaf there, so that was a really nice one. A lot of them didn't have too much white on them. Next to those, they had these really pretty alglionomas. I think these ones are called China Red, but they have that beautiful pinkish red color to them. They also got in a huge shipment of these Ring of Fires. This is the one that had the most variegation, but it didn't look the best out of all of them. A lot of them were mostly green. They did have a little bit of variegation on there, but not much. It looks like they still have a whole bunch of these painted lady philodendrons. I believe that's what they are. I looked at the tag, but they don't have a lot of color on them, so not quite sure. They had a lot of these Sansevieria plants to choose from. These are only $28. They were a pretty good size. And behind that, they had some Monstera deliciosa, one of my favorites. But let's go ahead and take a look at another area. Over here on this top shelf, they had a few Calathea. There is that purple one. I think it goes by Calathea Dottie. And I think this one goes by Calathea Medallion, but let me know in the comments if you know for sure what those are. And here they have quite a few of these fiddle leaf figs to choose from. These are really small, but they had quite a few of those. This middle shelf is pretty empty. It looks like they have a ZZ plant, but this moonshine ficus caught my eye. I really love this ficus. I think they are so pretty. They also had a ruby ficus next to that and some golden pothos baskets. On this bottom shelf, they had quite a few of those Dieffenbachias. They also had some of these Dracaenas to choose from. So lots of those down there at the bottom. Let's go ahead and take a look up here at the top. They had a couple Hoyas up here that caught my eye. It looks like a Hoya Bertinae and then a Hoya curtisii. But a lot of these plants up here are the same as last time. Nothing really new, a nerve plant, teddy bear vine, and a couple others. On this other side, they got in some bonnie spider plants. I just love the texture on these, and they also have that white stripe. I just think this is a really easy, low maintenance plant, so super excited to find those here today. Looks like these last few are the same as last week. They have the golden pothos and the philodendron Brazil. This one is the teddy bear vine and another philodendron Brazil. In the middle here we have those plants for $5.98. Most of them are the same as last week. They did have these Dracaenas that were new, a few different types of nerve plants. I really like this green one. That's one of my favorites. They also had this begonia that looks like it is a new one. I think that one goes by Silver Dollar Begonia, but let me know in the comments if you know for sure what that one is called. But they also had these little golden pothos, so just a few of these smaller plants for only $5.98, so a really good deal on those. On the other side, they had a few different new ones. It looks like they got in this Dieffenbachia, so that's a pretty good size plant for $5.98. I really like that one. It also looked like they had a lot of the same smaller plants over here. So let's go ahead and look at the top. This kangaroo paw fern is definitely a new one. I have not seen this one here before, so that is a really cool looking plant. I love the color on these pothos they had here at the end, but let's go ahead and look on the other side. Over here in the middle, they got in quite a few larger plants. They had these philodendron black cardinals for only $30. I really love the darker color on the leaves. Next to that, they had these ficus moonshine for only $20. Really good deal for that size. They had some of those crotons in the middle, and down here they had this white aspen Dracaena for only $30. I really love the look of those. They also had some smaller corn plants for $23. I really thought these Dieffenbachias were really pretty. They also had in a lot of Monstera deliciosa over here. It looks like they got a huge shipment of corn plants in. Some of them had a little planter basket with some pothos down in the bottom. Those were really cute. On this end, they had some larger ones for $65. Most of these were pretty big and over 5 feet tall, so a really good deal for $65. On the other side, they had one of my favorites, which is this crocodile Dieffenbachia. And it looks like a lot of the same plants here on the other side. And kind of sitting in the middle of the floor here, it looks like they didn't have a spot for these guys, but they did have these huge fiddle leaf figs for $120. Most of them were between 6 to 8 feet tall. But let's go ahead and look at the live trends. Over here on this bottom shelf, they had a ficus ruby, and it looks like maybe a lemon lime philodendron, a dracaena. They also had another type of ficus and those calathea medallions, and a few alglionomas mixed in, and all of these were $25. Up here at the top, they had some moonlight ficus. I really love the planter on these, but if you want a better deal, I would definitely pick up those Costa Farm ones for 20 that were in the middle. A lot of these hanging plants are the same as last week, so nothing really new over here. It looked like they still had a lot of Hartley philodendron and Syndapsis to choose from. And this one right here is a Pothos Enjoy. Really love those. Looks like some more Dracaena down here and a juvenile Monstera deliciosa. On this other side, they had some more ficus, some Dracaena, a few philodendrons, and can't really tell what a lot of those are, but a lot of those are the same as last week. These hanging macrame planters are really cute. They had those last time as well. Looks like they had a few different types of prayer plants in there. I thought this little ZZ plant was cute. Looks like they may have some more of those ruby ficus down here. And then up here at the top, they had some more Syndapsis and some Hartley philodendron. And it looks like a few calathea. They still had quite a few of those mixed planters we saw last time, and a lot of this area looks like it's in the process of being cleared out. They did have a few of those marantas in the middle and another one of those ferns. So nothing really new over here to see. So let's go ahead and head towards the checkout. Near the checkout, they still had a lot of the same plants they had last week. They had those Alocasia regina, some white knights, and some xanthiosomas. So I think that's going to go ahead and wrap up today's trip. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my next video, and I will talk to you guys soon.